He thinks that's funny. He thinks that's a funny thing he's doing. Hello, huge movie fanatic Nate, stopping on by. This time I'm coming at you to showcase this, relatively cool, what I, kind of use as what I call a Friday the 13th final chapter, more or less bust. It's something that I got off eBay. I don't know when, maybe 2011, 2012, or 13 or something like that, which was one listing for all three of these items. It's like it kind of looks more like a part 3 hood with the face open that a person could wear, and then the final chapter-esque hockey mask, and then it's a top portion, just like the top portion of like a part 3 slash final chapter shirt that I got. Like I said, it was all one listing that I got off eBay, probably for, wasn't very much. It was probably like $80 or $90, shipping included, and I was just like, for a huge Friday 13th fan, that's just like pocket change. So I got it just to primarily use as it's sitting here, just kind of as a bust. I'm not a person that feels like they need to dress up as Jason or anything like that. So I got it just to be a bust, and for the price I paid for all all three of these items all said and done for one price, I think it's relatively cool. Yes, some huge Friday 13th fans would argue that the final chapter-esque mask, this one in particular doesn't have the familiar yellowish tone to it. And if you look at the the quote-unquote, the axe mark a little bit closer, it looks like just dried chocolate syrup they got mashed up over there, up topped by the the axe mark or whatever. But actually, it's really strange. You look at it really close, and it just looks like, oh my God, what the hell is that slop job? But across the room, it actually looks okay. Yeah, I suppose if a person really wanted to, they could, cover over that with red paint or something like that to actually give it a red color or whatever. But I'm just maybe I'm just too lazy to do that or whatever. But I see, on the whole, I think that this is a relatively decent piece as it is. So I don't really have the need or anything like that to really mess with it or give it any my own alterations rather, because as a whole, I think this thing is a relatively cool little piece of work. So I'll just give this thing a 360-degree turn here for you. Just kind of showcase, for you huge Friday 13th fans might be able to tell that this is, as I said, probably more of a part 3 hood versus a final chapter hood, although I would imagine they're relatively the same, just kind of bald head and whatever. But this does have the more of the hulking hulkiness to the back of the neck here, like good old Brooker had in part 3. But it definitely works as a final chapter hood to go along with this quote-unquote final chapter mask as well. And in my opinion, as I said, I'm not going to get too picky about the details, particularly because for the price I paid for this thing. But as I said, I think I already said it, I just basically use it as this bust, just keep it as a display piece. And for the cost, for the price I paid, I think it's a relatively decent deal, to be honest. It's true that the blood stuff on the hockey mask might be a little lame, but I think in the color being like not the yellowish color, but aside from that, I think the detail on the hockey mask is really really accurate to movie, and it really has a nice worn look to it, and they got the rubbing off on the nose really well and stuff like that. So on the whole, I think it's a relatively decent display piece for what I paid for it. So I guess that's pretty much it. Just wanted to stop by and showcase one of the cooler Friday the 13th items I have in my collection. I think it's kind of cool, and definitely looks pretty cool displayed in the room. And you can looking across the room, it's just like if you walk into the darkly, or kind of a darkly lit room at night or whatever, and you see old Jason bust staring at you, it's just like, ooh. I kind of put a black piece of fabric or something behind the mask there, so it just obviously makes the eyes just blackened out or whatever. So when you walk into the room and you see this thing dimly lit, it's just like, even though it's there, you kind of get a little bit of a shudder or whatever. So as I said, being a Friday 13th fan, I think it definitely filled the void I had for a Friday the 13th final chapter-ish bust, and I don't really have the need to get any other Friday the 13th busts necessarily. I mean, for me, like Part 3 and Final Chapter are kind of like the classic Jason look. So if I was going to have any bust, it'd probably be, well, either 3 or this one, which is, it's kind of funny because the hood being, more or less a kind of a Part 3 hood and a kind of a more or less Final Chapter mask, is kind of the best of both worlds, if you will. So I guess that'll pretty much do it. Thank you very much for watching this video showcasing my more or less Friday the 13th Final Chapter hockey mask and hood and shirt that I basically use as a bust display piece. Thank you very much for watching this video, and as always, we'll catch you on the next one.